All right, I'm gonna take the XK A280 that micro P-51 out one more time with the stock transmitter. I know I said I was gonna take it out next time with the TX16S, but I went ahead and made an adjustment on the ailerons that I spoke about in one of the other videos to get maximum movement on the aileron control surfaces. So the linkage was already at the outermost hole on the servo arm. So I went ahead and moved the linkage at the aileron control horn to the innermost hole, from the middle hole to the innermost hole. So mechanically I could get the maximum movement from the ailerons to see how much tighter that will turn in 6G mode in low rate and high rate. And then I wanted to make sure it wasn't, twitchy in 3D mode on the ailerons before I produce my setup file for this plane. So I can't say yet if I'm going to include that adjustment in the setup file. Definitely the elevator adjustment that I made, I'll put that in the notes of the setup file, but I want to go out and test it with the stock TX. And then the next time I have an opportunity to take it out, I will take it out with the TX16S and put it through its paces. I also charged up a 2S 660 milliamp hour 30C LiPo, which should be able to supply about 19 amps. So I put that on the load meter. I ran the plane up, and at 50% throttle, it's only pulling 2 amps. So, and at 100% throttle, it's pulling 6.8. So not a lot of amp draw there, even at full throttle, 6.8 amps. So I would say that 1806 2000 kV motor's got some decent torque to it to be able to spin that 4-blade 6x3 prop at full throttle and only pull 6.8 amps. So that's why we're getting such good flight time out of it. So I did take my meter out with me this time. So I'll test the batteries after I get the plane back on the ground. But anyway, let's go ahead and test out my aileron linkage adjustment for maximum movement on the ailerons and see how it handles with that adjustment. I'll see you out the field.
Okay, so this is 6G mode, high rates. I think that definitely helped the turn radius in a low rate and high rate. That's pretty good turn radius there for 6G mode. Alright, we're in 3D mode now. Should be. Yeah, I think so. Oh, that was a pretty big loop, guys. Not bad at all. I'll show you. The rolls still look pretty lethargic to me. And I think mechanically I've got it, for maximum movement on the aileron control surfaces. I think that the linkage is at the outer hole on the servo arm, on the inner hole of the control horn. So mechanically I've got as much movement as I can get out of it. That is pretty sweet, huh? That was kind of a bad split S maneuver. Try that again. That was better. Isn't that a nice flying plane? So I'm still flying it with the stock TX. This is my last flying session. I just wanted to test out the stock TX with the adjustment I made on the ailerons. You do need to be a little softer on the controls, so my suggestion would be for a beginner to keep the aileron linkage where it was, because you do have a tighter turn radius in all three modes. That is awesome though. So the next time I bring it out, I will be bringing it out with the TX16S. That is such a cool little brushless micro. If it had a little more power to pull it through the air fairly fast, I think that those rolls would be nice and tight and axial. I've just got the stock battery pushed all the way forward, and I really like the balance on it. Okay, I put it into 6G mode. Let's turn off this timer and see if we can bring it in before anybody else comes through. I have had a lot of company out here this morning. I want to test the voltage on it real quick. I had it in the air for about 5 minutes with the stock battery, and I think that you know, flying it the way I'm flying it, I think you're going to be able to get about 6.5 to 7 minutes of flight out of it, leaving 3.6 volts per cell. So I've got 7.6 for the pack. Look at that, 3.8. 3.8. So I'll probably set my timer for a full 5 minutes. I've already had one instance out here this morning where I had to make 5 or 6 circuits for walkers coming through before I could get it on the ground. So I got to leave quite a bit in reserve in my battery packs. But yeah, I'll be setting it for 5 minutes. But you know, looking at that, I'd say flying it the way I was just flying it, you're going to be able to get 7 minutes of flight time out of it, leaving 3.6 volts per cell, or just slightly above that. Okay, launching in 6G mode, high rates. Takes right off. This is such a cool little plane, guys. You would love it. Alright, let's put it into 3D mode. We are now in 3D mode. I'm betting. That's a pretty big loop. Trying to get used to my increased movement on the ailerons here, so I'm not as smooth with it as I was. But when I bring out the TX16S and I can put some Expo in, that'll work. Rolls might be just slightly faster after doing that, but not a lot. Check that out. That was a huge loop. I suggest you do that when your batteries are fresh. That is so cool. Split S. That is so cool. And I'm getting some wind out here now too. Oh, not as much power. Battery's falling off a bit. Isn't that absolutely smooth for the size of plane it is and the weight that it is? You know, I've skidded on my prop so much, almost every landing. They're starting to get a little noisy now, aren't they? Enough power to do aerobatics with, that's for sure. Look how smooth that is. That is awesome. I'm loving this little plane. As long as I don't forget where the scrub is or the truck is, I'll be good to go. Okay. Let's put it back into 6G mode. Should be 6G mode. See if we can bring it around and land it. Oh, I'm going into the wind there. I'm going to bring it around from the other end. Wind shift. Wind shift on me. Hey! Oh! I thought it was going to stay on its wheels until it hit a rock. Oh well. Alright guys, I am having an absolute blast with this plane. It's not a powerhouse, but it has plenty of power to do aerobatics, as you saw. You know, with a fresh battery, you can do some pretty darn wide loops with it. Alright guys, like I said in my previous videos, I highly recommend this little sub 250 gram brushless P-51D. XK just did everything right with this plane. Now, I would like to have seen a little more power, but plenty of power to do aerobatics with. So, and it's supposed to be a beginner warbird. So for that is absolutely a perfect little machine. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.